eyes wide open, darkness closing. Just stay focused, I'm not folding. I'll upset you, cause I'm just too dangerous. I'm dangerous. Don't fall asleep, don't wait around. I'm on my way, I'm on the prowl. Don't fall asleep, I don't forget. Trying to keep me out, I'm already in. So don't fall asleep.
Go Buffs! Thank you all for joining us for our first women's basketball virtual pregame. We're so glad you took the time to join us this afternoon to get excited for our Buffs take on Stanford. We have an exciting agenda planned for this hour, and we have two very special guests that are joining us today to virtually meet and greet with you all. This pregame is a partnership between the CU Boulder Alumni Association, the Alumni Sea Club, and CU Athletics. And we're planning to host two other virtual pregames for our women's team this season. My name's Brennan Jones. I'm the Associate Director of Events at the Alumni Association. I'm joined by my colleague, Pamela Datos, who I'm sure many of you received communication from. Pam and Kimberly Orr, who I will properly introduce in a minute, have collaborated and worked hard to plan this event today, and you will be hearing from them throughout our program as well. So without further ado, I'm really excited to introduce Kimberly Orr, who will be facilitating our discussion with our alumni women's basketball players this afternoon. Kimberly is currently the Executive Director of the Alumni Sea Club and has been in that role for 2 years now. She's an alum of the Leeds School of Business and earned her degree in marketing. Kimberly's a longtime volunteer with the Alumni Association. She currently sits on the CU Foundation Board of Trustees and was named CU Advocate of the Year in 2016. She's been absolutely incredible partner to the Alumni Association, particularly this year as we've embarked on hosting some fun virtual events for our fans. And we're just really excited to have her partnership. So thanks, Kimberly, and I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Brennan. Appreciate that kind introduction. Welcome, everyone. Good Sunday morning. Who's ready for some Colorado women's basketball? I know I am. This is a huge day for our Buffs. So we are very grateful to have two of our finest women's basketball alums in this Zoom with us. I am going to take a quick minute to introduce these ladies to you. First, we have Alexis Feltz, who is known by Lexi from her playing days. Alexis, can you give everybody a big wave? She's coming to us from Pasadena, California. She and her teammate, Shelly Sheets, who's coming to us from Denver, Colorado, are on the call today. And I think that these women in this team really need no introduction because they were on one of Steelberry's greatest teams ever. And I'm going to ask them to tell you a little bit about themselves and when they played at CU and some of their fondest memories. So alphabetical order, I'm going to start with you, Lexi.
Good morning. I played from 1994 to 1998. I was on some amazing teams, played with some amazing people, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of my experiences with you all this morning.
Great, thank you. And Shelly, Hall of Famer, Shelly Sheets, probably needs no introduction to this group either, but Shelly, will you tell us a little bit about yourself, the years you played, and anything else you'd like to say to kick us off?
I'm the seasoned one between Lexi and I. Played 91 through 95. And like Lex said, just some amazing teams, amazing teammates. You know, we actually worked really, really hard. I think that people don't really, they saw the game, the success when they came to the Coors Event Center or watched this, Salina, Kansas. But I think something that went kind of unnoticed was how hard our teams worked in practice. We couldn't be happier to actually have a game. That was a little bit of a relief for us, but just, great memories playing in the CU Event Center. I'm really excited about today's game for the Buffs playing against Stanford. They've kind of been our nemesis in the NCAA, and obviously now that they're in the Pac-12, that seems to be our our squad that they like to see matchups nationally. So hopefully we can get the dub today.
I agree with you there. Yes, I was reading about the game in the Daily Camera this morning, and just the year after year rivalry that these two teams have seen is really phenomenal. So, Lexi, tell us a little bit about what you studied at CU and what you're doing now.
I studied communications at CU, and it's interesting. Now I work for USC. I'm in the IT department as an analyst, an operations analyst. So it's pretty funny because I'll wear my Colorado gear to work. You know, we have casual Fridays, or I used to before we went to work from home. And I just have yet to ever be able to root for USC, even though they provide me with my paycheck.
Well, my recommendation, you know, as the Alumni Letter Winner Association director, is take that paycheck and never wear their letters. Just rocking that C.
Yeah.
Also, in the athletics department, we have Spirit Friday. So our uniform on Fridays, pretty much, if you go down the hall, all you're going to see is CU gears. And
nice.
The store is in my office. So if you need me to send something to you, I do know how to mail things to California.
Oh, awesome. I'll take anything.
Shelly, tell us a little bit about what you studied. And you've had a fascinating career path. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about what you're doing now and how you got back here to Denver.
So my degree's in sociology. I was one class short of minor in criminology. Parents reminded me of that before they passed away. But yeah, after I played, finished my eligibility at CU, I played over in Europe, went to Germany, and then I came back here in the United States and played in the American Basketball League. And then after that, I got into this coaching role. I've coached all over the country, predominantly in the West Coast. I was at Washington State, Pepperdine, San Diego. I was at Denver in 2008 to 2012 before I went to the East Coast. Stayed on the East Coast for quite a bit. I was at Boston College. I took a 2-year time out from coaching. I worked at Under Armour. Then I worked for the KO Cancer Fund, where it's a nonprofit. We raise money for all women's cancers. And I was the director of the Play for K games for the collegiate levels. And then got back into coaching at Loyola, Maryland for 3 years. And then thankfully, I came back west, and now I'm back at Denver for a second stint, and just really, really enjoying kind of being back where I can kind of consider really Colorado my home now. Even though I grew up in Iowa, but I do believe that Colorado's kind of home. My siblings live here, but it's just really exciting to kind of be back in a familiar place.
Yeah, it's totally where you belong.
Thanks, Lex.
Yeah. I mean, it's just natural.
I spent 17 years in the LA area, Lex, and when I got the opportunity to move back home to Colorado in 2003, that was the longest drive and 2 of the happiest days of my life, knowing I was going back home. So I can really relate to that, Shelly.
I told my husband, we did a short stint in Indiana last year, and then we moved straight back here because we were like, nope, we're California people. I said, the only place I'll ever move again is Colorado.
Yeah, and I think everybody on this call who gets to live here would agree with you. There's no place like Colorado.
No.
So thinking about your playing days and your memories of that, I'd like each of you to share one of your favorite memories. And this time, Shelly, I'll start with you.
Wow, man. You know, when I saw that question, Lex, I don't know about you, but it's hard to pick one. I mean, honestly.
So hard.
Give us a couple. Give us a top 3. I don't know. Can you do that?
Yeah. So, you know what, this was before Lex joined us, but the 92 team where we went to Missoula, Montana, you know, I think that really put us on the map nationally when we faced Stanford, who was the defending champs. By the way, we're going to talk about Stanford just a hot second because we actually did sting them a little bit that year. They were the defending champs, national champs. We met them in Missoula, Montana, and we were a bunch of no names, honestly. Made it the Sweet 16, and we put a game together. I mean, they went on a 10-0 run to start the game. And we're like, oh God, here we go. called a timeout and we were rolling. But I think the Missoula, Montana Sweet 16 and the 92-93 team really put us on the map. After that, we had some, conference national bright spots too. And then Lexi, I think, when you joined us, our squad kind of took it to the next level, right? So it was the 94-95 team where we made a huge run, right? We ran the table in conference. We were a 25 game win streak. We were second in the nation and we were rolling. And then, unfortunately we faced a Georgia team with a bunch of sophomores that kind of ended things. But I think that year, the 94-95 squad was just so many incredible memories during that year that it was kind of hard to pick one, but I think kind of those two propelled us.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback off Shelly here. As a junior in high school who grew up in Stanford's backyard, I literally 5 minutes from Stanford. I mean, so my dream was always to go there and play. And when I saw CU beat Stanford on TV that year, my mind sort of went to, I want to check that place out. That looks like an amazing, and also, you could see from the TV, the written, how far above sea level you were. And I still remember like, wow, playing up in the mountains, and beating Stanford. And, a place that I definitely want to be recruited by. And eventually I was, and I was very thankful for. But for me, my favorite memories, there are so many, like Shelly said, but I'm going to go back to how we were as a team, our bus rides in between Kansas and Kansas State, our trips to the Big 8 and Big 12 tournaments. That was where we shined and where we always came together. It was I think in my time, we won 3 out of the 4 big the tournaments, and it projected us into our tournament play. So I'll never forget, what was the city that we used to do the Big 8 tournament, Shelly? What's that?
Salina, Kansas.
That's it. And then the Big 12, I think, was in Missouri. I think it was in Missouri. And they always brought the people, they brought the fans, and it was just really special. But in particular for me, my freshman year, going when who did we beat? Is it George Washington to go to the Elite 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to stand on the tables and we got to run up the fan. I think we probably had a packed house, and I'll never forget that. That was such a beautiful moment and a dream come true for me.
That had to have been really, really special. I want to acknowledge that Linda Robbins, who's a guest here in the chat, said when CU beat Stanford. So she knows her women's basketball. And we're going to have a segment here in a moment where we're inviting all of our guests to ask questions of our letter winners. So you're welcome to put those in the chat or hold those for a live ask. And I just wanted to acknowledge that and take a break in the action to share that. It was my honor and deep pleasure to produce the women's basketball alumni reunion weekend last February. Hard to believe, almost a year ago, and I haven't seen any of you since, which is so sad. But we had so many great women come back, and we honored your 94-95 team specifically on the 25th anniversary of their incredible anniversary season. And it was so great to not only see you, but see so many of your teammates. What is that like? For that team 25 years later, but for all the different teams, when we host those reunions and y'all come back and get to engage with our current student athletes as well as see each other, what is that like for you after you've been removed from the program a couple of years? We're just going to say a couple of women, such things, right?
It was definitely surreal. And also what was for me the most amazing thing was that it was like no time had passed. So we were able to pick up right where we left off. We were teasing each other like we used to. We were laughing at memories. We were talking about we were bonding over the work that we put in and how hard we worked, 6 a.m. workouts, and then come back at 4 p.m. for another workout. You know, the amount of suicides. You know, for me, just being back in Boulder and seeing everybody and seeing the faces that were so supportive of us and just me and individually was really special. And I actually really needed it. I needed to be back there and see, you know, for me, like, wow, like this was part of my life and I'm so grateful for it. And I just took it all in so that I can share it with my boys and my family. And I'm so glad that they got to come and see that too, that I got to do this.
It's and I concur. It was really amazing for me.
Oh, thanks. She froze. So I'll take
oh,
it.
No. Thank you, Shelly.
I'll take it from Lex. And so, yeah, I concur. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to all the fans because, you know, the fans were awesome during our tenure there. And I mean, we packed the place, you know, Section 8, Section 9. I mean, they were just, they were the people that made it so memorable, as well as we continue to elevate, you know, the CU Women's program. And like Lex said, we just picked up where we left off. I mean, it was some of the stories people heard about, some stories we kind of had to keep to ourselves. And a lot of the stories, Coach Barry's like, oh, you guys just are really, you know, taking it to a whole nother level. It didn't happen that way. Like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Like you said, those things, you did those things. We worked that hard. So it was a lot of joshing back and forth, which was great. You know, I was bummed I couldn't be there the whole weekend. I flew in and flew out, and I think I was there for like a hot 4 hours to see everybody. But like, we just picked up where we left off, and we do follow each other on Facebook. We have this enormous Facebook Messenger where we, you know, send shout outs to everybody, but it's just so incredible to see the success that everybody has had, you know, after we kind of went our own ways after graduation, you know, the families, their spouses, and just this success that we all have had in our different professions. And that's really absolutely amazing to see how everyone has continued that success professionally.
I agree. It was fun to watch, and it was fun to see some of the kids who were there start to make friends. As their moms were talking, as kids do, they just naturally go off and play. And it was really nice to just see that entire family atmosphere Sunday morning before the game. So that was really, really fun. And I can't wait until we can do it again.
Thank you so much for putting such an amazing weekend together. I mean, we were moving, we had events, we had, you know, never a dull moment. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was like being on the team again. You had a schedule.
Yeah. I don't expect anything less from Sealberry either.
Right, and we're gonna talk about her after the trivia break. Shelly, I want to pivot for a second to a memory I would like to ask you to share. So, as everyone on the call probably knows, Shelly was a Kodak First Team All-American, a 3-time All-Big 8 performer, 2-time Colorado Most Valuable Player, and a Naismith Award finalist, which is the highest award in women's basketball. So Shelly finished playing in 1995 and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2004. And Shelly, there are just a handful of women who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame as former women's basketball players. What was that like for you? What was it like to be here and receive that award and that acknowledgement for your playing time at CU?
It was overwhelming of emotions. You know, by the way, I didn't do it by myself. I mean, people passed me the ball. I had a lot of people setting screens. People who
you had your freshman partner right here next to you on the screen.
Yeah, we were workout buddies. When she
hardest guard I ever played against was Shelly in practice.
But no, just extremely honored, but just, you know, blessed to be a part of some incredible teams and teammates. And, you know, and the coaching staff, you know, they pushed me to levels I didn't think that I could get to. Mind you, I was a snot-nosed little punk of a freshman who thought I could do anything. And then some people kind of put me back in my place a little bit. But no, I had big dreams and aspirations. And, we were able to, put squads together through the 4 years, but just a wealth of emotions during that time. And obviously honored to, be inducted in the CU Hall of Fame. Very proud of that. I was proud that my family, my mom and dad were still alive, that they could be there to see that. But yeah, I just proud of my career for sure. For sure. You talk to kids nowadays, they don't care. They don't really actually understand kind of how basketball was back in the day. So I don't really talk a lot about my career to our current players. They have Googled me. My former players do Google me, and they kind of find out, but it doesn't really resonate as much to, the past players during that era.
Well, you are one of 8 women from CU women's basketball in the CU Athletics Hall of Fame, joined, of course, by your coach, Seal Berry. And I just want to give a shout out to a few other ladies that you know, Tara Bjorklund, Jamila Lang, Erin Scholes, Bridget Turner, and Lisa Van Gore. And Lisa was the very first women's basketball player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it's great to see so many of those names on a very special list. And we got to see those folks at the reunion last year. So that was really nice too. So shout out to all of the CU Women's Basketball Hall of Famers and to all of our CU Women's Basketball alumni. We are going to shift and start with some trivia questions. And Pamela is going to tell us how that works. And I encourage Shelly and Lexi to play along if you wish. So I'm going to pitch to Pam, and then we're going to come back and have some Q&A with our letter winners. So take it away, Pam.
Great. Thank you, Kimberly. So as Kimberly mentioned, we're going to switch over to trivia. So Brennan just put a link in the chat. If you all wouldn't mind clicking on that link, that is going to bring up a web browser. It's a service called AHA Slides. And you should see, let me get it started here. You should see an ability to enter a name, a username, and I believe you can pick an emoji as well. So if you can all go ahead and click on that link and get that going, that is where we will be executing the trivia portion. So I'll just wait a minute or two. I see a few people coming in right now, and we'll get going. And as Kimberly said, yes, Alexis and Shelly, if you want to play, there are some questions. You might have a little leg up on there. There's a few questions related to your former coach, the season you played, and a few fun ones in there. So I see we have 6 people playing, 7. Great. I'm going to give it 1 more minute while we go, and it should be fun. Okay, I think we're going to launch. So here we go. I'm going to read the question, and make sure when you're playing on that web browser that you open. And I just realized I did not share my screen. Let me do that really quickly as well. Okay, let's see, here we go. Share screen. Oh no, that's the answers. All right. The things that happen in the virtual environment. Thank you all for hanging in there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start. So question number 1, it will pop up on your screen and I'll read it as well. In what year was the current head coach J.R. Payne hired? The answers are going to pop up, and if you just, I believe if you scroll on your screen, it'll show you all the answers. Select what you believe to be the correct answer, and then press submit, and it'll get your answer loaded in there. So what year was JR hired?
Why not?
2016, that is the correct answer. All right, question 2. What Forever Buff holds the school record for most individual 3-pointers in a game with 8? The school record is 8. I see a familiar name there in one of the answer options. Shelly's shaking her head no. Okay, we got 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is yes, Kennedy Leonard. I know for those of you Buff fans who watched the last few seasons, she's been was a great Buff to watch. Very fun to play with a great family too. They came to all of our pregame events. They were a great squad. Sealberry's 94-95 team claims the record for the most wins in a season. The CU record for the most wins in a season. And what is the correct answer? All right, our two special guests should be able to get this one. We'll see. That was quite the year. All right. 30, yay, good job. Applause for everyone. All right, we got two left. Question 4, what Forever Buff holds the career scoring record with a total of 2,185 points? Some familiar names here. A few that I actually have watched play, which is pretty fun. We've had some great buffs in the last few years. All right. Correct answer is yes, Miss Britney Spears. She was in school when I was there and was a fun buff to watch. All right, final question. Let's see. How many buffs on the current roster are from the state of Colorado? Now we have some great high school basketball players, but a lot of them are getting poached. I saw one of the top players in the country from out of Colorado just signed with Stanford over the last week, so they're stealing them. How many buffs on the current roster from Colorado? Correct answer is 2. All right, now let's see who our winner is. Oh my goodness, look at this. We have 7 winners. Yay, I love it. Oh my gosh, look at all this confetti. So we're gonna go ahead and for those of you that did win, all 7 of you, we'll send you a little buff prize pack. We'll get something out in the mail as a thank you for being here and thank you for participating. All right, so as we head back, I see Kimberly has changed her background to be the women's reunion. I like this. I love that. You know, the
my kid just took his pants off.
It's amazing.
Sorry.
2020, 2021, the things that everyone is dealing with. I've been having fun watching them play in the background. As Kimberly mentioned, we're now going to open the floor to any Q&A that any of you that are on the call may have. Feel free to either put that in the chat, or you can also unmute yourself and ask the question yourself. So if anyone has anything, I know we have some questions sent in as well that we can pivot to. But if anybody has a question off the top, feel free to ask it.
Well, I'll start with Tom Smith's question, and that might give you pause to think of your own question. So Tom Smith is a letter winner. He is an Honor AC letter winner and received that award last winter. And he's also the scorekeeper for women's basketball and has been for many, many years. So this question is from Tom, and it's for both of you. So Lexi, I'll start with you first. And can you tell us about 1 or 2 games of your career that were most memorable? And we are sending this video to Tom so he gets the answer straight from both of you. So I'll start with you, and then Shelly, same question for you.
I think for me, one of my most memorable was on my 21st birthday. We played Kansas my junior year, and if I'm not mistaken, I had 21 points, which was for me my all-time career high, or somewhere close to that, but it was my career high. And it just, we beat Kansas, and it felt special. And for me, it was a really great moment and great game. I just was feeling it that night. And what makes it kind of also memorable is that on the way home from that game, I got pulled over by a cop for speeding. And he still had my sweats on, and he looked at my license and he's like, "Oh, it's your birthday, and I heard you just beat Kansas," and so he let me go without a ticket. And I was I think 25 miles over the speed limit in Boulder, I think it was on Broadway going towards Pearl Street. So that was very memorable for me. I mean, besides for everything I've already talked about, all the special moments of winning championships, the tournament games and going to the Elite Eight. Obviously those games are so special, but the little games where, for me, that's that felt awesome. That Kansas game was awesome. And then there was also in one other game when we beat Texas at Texas. That was an amazing game. They had, I think, like 20,000 people all doing this right in your face. And we were able to come away with the win. And that was a great game. And that for me, Seal trusted me to be in the game at the end of the game. And something I worked towards my whole career at Boulder. And so I really remember that one too.
That's phenomenal. And to get a speeding ticket on your birthday, I'm glad that cop gave you that gift of.
Yeah.
So Shelly, same question for you.
Oh man, just besides the Missoula Stanford game, I think there's just parts of different games. So when we were 94, 95, we were at Kansas State swing. Kansas, I think, had the Payless shoe, sponsor thing where there was 13,000 people in the stands, and it came down to the wire. We always battled with Kansas. They were our huge rival as far as the, games go down to overtime or the, last second plays, but we were at the free throw line. And Amy Palmer stepped up and she made the first, missed the second perfectly. And between Isabel and DC Thomas, they tipped it and we scored it. Ended up going into overtime and, that moment. And then we go on to Kansas State, and now Isabel's out because of, she had a back injury. Erin Scholes is in foul trouble. DC's in foul trouble. And Coach Barry comes to me and she's like, Sheets, you need to score. And mind you, if you guys all remember, I didn't have to score my senior year. I mean, we had people on the wings. We had, inside game with Erin Scholes and Reagan Peebley. We had a squad. It was just like, Sheets, don't screw it up. Just pass the ball up the floor, and just run the offense. And I had to score that game. And I was like, what? Oh, and we came out on top, and that was kind of a moment. And then Lex, do you remember when we were at Oklahoma State that year with Dick Halterman and Jack Easley as the assistant head coach, and we couldn't play in Stillwater, which we called Stinkwater at the time, because there was the state wrestling, high school state wrestling. And so they stuck us in a high school gym that wasn't college regulated. And there was only like 2,500 fans allowed, and it was crazy. And it was just like, really, we are not letting this undefeated streak come to an end. And you know what, we persevered and we won that game. So it was kind of different moments. So Tom, I want to give you a shout out, man. You've been on that scores table from the get-go. You're a lifer. I love it. But we're so proud of you and appreciate the question, Tom.
Yeah. Shout out, Tom. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for that. He's got a couple more, and then we've got one from Michelle that I'll pivot to also. Tom would like to know from both of you, who was the best player you were assigned to guard? Lexi, we'll start with you.
Sure. I mean, besides for Shelly in practice every day my freshman year, I'll go with Shamiqua Holsclaw, my Sweet 16, my junior year. And it was interesting because, there was a couple of us assigned to guard her, but all I was told, I was told a lot of things, but I just specifically remember, don't let her post you up, because she was so much taller than I was. So she wasn't as good of a shooter as she was about posting up. So I just remember just keeping my elbows as much as I can, just keep her out of the key, and I think that her average was like 20 something points, and we kept her under her average, and they still beat us, but they went on to win that year, I believe. She was a tough one. Tamika Dixon, she was I didn't get assigned. I watched her. She was a tough guard as well.
Thank you. And Shelly, who was the best player you were assigned to guard?
Well, I wasn't really known for my defense. Let's be real. Everybody on this call and everyone seeing this recording can probably laugh at that I wasn't known for my defense. But I played enough to play in the Coach Barry era. Cheryl Swoops, obviously, again, go back to the 93, or actually with 92, 93 team, Missoula, Montana. I actually saw more of her backside than her front side because she would just go by me. So I was playing a lot of catch up. Again, it wasn't defense that I was known for. But Cheryl Swoops, most definitely. And they went on to win the championship too. So that was kind of cool. kind of same thing with Lex. It was nice that they went on and won the championship.
Shelly, do you remember when we played the Olympic team? I mean, I think it was your senior year, right?
No, actually, you guys played them. I played them when I was Athletes in Action. We kicked off their 52 like game exhibition game. I was playing with Athletes in Action. So I was pretty solid about this. I'm on Jennifer Azzi's playing card.
Oh, okay.
And so I actually had Jennifer Azzi sign the playing card.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah.
And she's shooting a layup in my face, but hey, I was like, dude, sign it. So
I remember, when we played that team, I mean, that was probably the greatest ever Olympic team ever put together, women's basketball. Jennifer Azzi, Cheryl Swoops, Teresa, I mean, everyone, Ruthie Bolton. I remember getting the ball and shooting it. And one of them, I think it was Lisa, hold on 1 second, okay? They swatted the ball to like the upper level of Coors. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know that opportunity would get to happen right now. So that is a really cool memory. We've got one more from Tom, which also kind of pivots into a question we have from Linda Robbins as well. And this question is, please give us a hint about Coach Barry that the fans never saw, perhaps in a practice or a game situation. So let's talk about Coach Barry for a second. How would you answer that question, Shelly? Because you're laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing now. Oh. No, just very honored that they were interested in me when I was a high school player, and then for me to be able to come to Boulder, play for her, and then I was extremely honored that she chose me to escort her into the College Women's Basketball Hall of Fame a couple years ago. That was an incredible honor. But I represented all the players that played for Coach Barry, mind you. But yeah, I mean, a lot of funny moments. Obviously, we josh her how hard of a coach she was. But you know what? We had success, and so you didn't question it. She always okay. So she, everybody on this call and everyone that's going to see this, she had this stance on the sideline, and she had her fingers and her hands were all like kind of whatever, but she had this stance on the sideline. But we always in the timeouts, we're all locked in and glued on her. And she always had this like white spitball right there on her lip when she got really fired up at us. And so those were that's a kind of funny moment, but yeah, in practice, I mean, she was fiery, but she was funny. And she always asked me rhetorical questions. Right, Lex? And me, I was in the moment, right? I'm in the moment, I'm competitive. But she'd always ask me rhetorical questions and I would answer them, unfortunately. And so I would get on the line and make the team run, or I was very infamous for getting thrown out of our practice at least once a year for answering one of her rhetorical questions. But yeah, she was famous for saying those to me, and unfortunately I would answer that. But no, very blessed and very honored to play for Coach Barry.
That is a great answer. What would you add to that?
I would agree with everything Shelly just said. And then for me, what I was also going to say is that she's so funny. Like, again, some of my best memories are in our bus in between Kansas and Kansas State and Coach Barry. We would play this game where we would say like shower, and we'd have to sing a song with the shower in it, or the word men or something, or, and she was so good at the game. She'd kick everyone's butt. And so that's pretty funny. But I think the one thing that, and I'm sure you guys probably got glimpses of this as well, is what for me, she installed such discipline and structure. We, every practice, my entire 4 years, we started every practice with 25 push-ups and 25 sit-ups. It never did we ever skip it. We ate together as a team. We wore the same clothes. to our pregame meals. We wore the same shoes, we wore the same socks, the same sports bras. Like, we were unified as a team. We had structure and we had discipline. And those are things that I carry today with me. I install it in my boys. I mean, you can't see that right now, but it's something that I do as a parent. And it's something that, I didn't see it then, but I see it now. I see what she meant by it. And I also believe that it contributed to our success and to us being closer as a team. Even when we tried to veer from her, it was a rule that we all had our ankles taped, and I hated it. I can't stand it. I don't want anything on my ankles. So I would cut my tape. I would go get taped, and then I would go into the locker room, and I had I cut my tape off, and I put my shoes back on. And when she found out, I was in huge trouble. I never did it again. But it was her rules. That's what we did. We followed the rules, or we didn't play.
Yeah, Lex and I were famous for cutting our ankle tapes, because
I still can't stand it. I can't stand anything on my ankles.
Kelly Latito and Michelle Quackenbush, the trainers, they would tape us so high, and Lex and I would run back to the training room. We'd cut our tape. Lex, you went one step further, cut it all off.
You would just cut it down.
I cut it to the stock line, yeah. and then once they found out, then you just put a piece of tape around your,
just a little piece of tape.
Like tape. But no, I mean, Lex and I started some trends that didn't really, Coach Berry wasn't approved, the Seal Berry approval. We
like to just work out in our sports bras. Yeah, no shirt.
And then Coach Berry and I would always fight about the length and the bagginess of my uniform.
Yeah.
That was one. And then the socks, and then the black shoes. As I got later in my career, we did the short socks. So the ankle socks is something that we started as a trend. Yeah. So we battled in the gear type.
Yeah.
Well,
but like Shelly said, we're so honored to have played for her. And it was not easy. She's a tough coach. It was tough love sometimes, but I think that it was, I know you are. But I'm so thankful that I was able to play for her, and, honored.
So we've got several questions in the chat, and I'm going to roll through a couple of these. On that note, Lexi, Kathy Olson is asking both of you, do you think fans today have the same relationship with players? Is it possible to recapture that family feeling of the old days? So that is from Kathy, who is on this call.
Hi, Kathy. Yeah, I could take this one, Lex. I don't think so. I think the times have changed. I think social media has done a lot with that. I think everyone says the players have changed. No, our society has changed, and that connection, that connectiveness with the fans and the players. We try to, well, pre-COVID, we tried to, at the different universities I was coaching at, to have, as soon as the game was over with, not go into the locker room, that we do a really quick huddle at the center circle, and then the players would go up into the stands to try to have that connection. But I don't think it could ever be back to where it was when Lex and I played, unfortunately. But yeah, we had some great times for sure. I remember all you guys in the stands, and appreciate to this day all the support that you guys gave us.
And that's great. Another question that was sent in, do you remember running the Kansas team out of the back door of the Holiday Inn in Salinas?
Say that again? What
question is, do you remember running the Kansas team out of the back door at the Holiday Inn in Salinas, Kansas?
There was a lot of things that happened at that Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
I mean, some we could talk about, and some we can't. However,
do you remember the support that, how many people came out to Salinas? I mean, people, we could not believe the amount of Buff fans. I mean, it was so amazing. And it goes back to that question of the relationships changing. I mean, I can't, it stinks that did someone say in the chat, you can't do that anymore? Can't go to the airport.
I want to say, I asked the question, this is Carol, and I remember the band and the fans and everyone were in the lobby, and the next thing we see little Tamika Dixon and the group going out the back door to get on their bus, and that was a classic moment for me, I think, because it was so funny. They were in their own state, and they were hightailing it out the back door. So we always laugh about that, and our time in Salina was probably the best basketball times that we had traveling and doing that, because it was so special back then. So.
Yeah. Hi, Carol. Yeah. Salina, Kansas was the best. I mean, we ran that show. We ran that city. It was the Big 8 plus Colorado. I mean, it was, our fans traveled really well. The support was amazing. It was really our tournament for my family there.
Yeah. I had a family that they had 3 kids that would come to all of our games, and they took me in as one of their own. I would have dinner with them once a week. If my computer broke at school, could go and I could, use their computer to type up a paper. They really just supported me throughout my four years. And I know that I'm not the only one, that a lot of my teammates had that as well. I mean, Shelly, I know that you had, sections voting for, Look at my husband, see where he's at.
So we've got 2 questions we're going to throw to you, Shelly, and it's 2 combined into one. So how do you feel the game has changed since your playing days? And then secondarily, what is it like to coach during the era of COVID? We'll give Lexi a second to find her husband, and we'll focus on those 2 questions.
Yeah, the game has really changed. It's just more athletic, more open. I don't know if I could play today. I don't know. I'm seasoned. So I tell my players all the time, I'm a professional rebounder. I have like one good dummy slide in me defensively, but the game has just changed. Sure. I mean, it evolves, right? You look at the NBA and everyone's comparing between the Jordan era and the Kobe era and now the LeBron era. And I just think we need to appreciate the era that people play in, more so than getting caught up in who's better at what time. Just in awe right now of the level of women's basketball being played, which is just, it's just a beautiful thing to see. Coaching in COVID, wow. Shout out to all the administrators, coaches, facilities people, the student athletes. It's tough. It is tough. It's challenging. We talk about the 2 F's being fluid and flexible. Every day is different. Nothing is the same as it used to be, where we would have pregame meal together as a team. We would have meals on the road together. None of that is happening. We actually, our players do not have single rooms on the road. However, they are roommates with people that they live with. Obviously we're wearing masks everywhere we go. We do not shower at the arenas, but we do have wipes that we give the players on the bus that they can wipe themselves. We are not allowed in our locker room at our own arena. The only time they're in the locker room is an hour and a half to 2 hours prior to us tipping off on the game, on game days. They come in one door of the facility with their temperature. They are escorted everywhere in our building. It's just a completely different thing, but I'm just really proud. I'm really proud. We have, knock on wood, we have actually done a fantastic job. We haven't had any COVID issues within our team, and we're playing. Unfortunately, we dropped a game yesterday, but I think we're 12 games. I don't even know what our record is, honestly. I'm just caught up in us trying to be 1% better every day. But just really proud of the team, and just really appreciative of the opportunity that we actually get to practice tomorrow. And hopefully on the weekend we get to play. And I know the Buffs tip off here in a hot second against Stanford. But just appreciative of the opportunity that we actually get to do what we love to do.
Yes. And I appreciate that. I know every chance I have had the opportunity to talk with Rick George, our athletic director, I thank him, because I think across the nation, the athletic directors, the head coaches, the trainers, the facilities team, and the student athletes, they need to be commended because this is a heavy lift. We all know what we're dealing with in our individual lives, and you magnify that, the responsibility of managing a team or an athletic department. And I just think that's a huge escalator. We are going to get ready to wrap up, but I would like to ask Lexi to share her final thoughts, and then we'll shift to Shelly, and then we've got a really special video to share with everybody. So final thoughts on anything you want to say about Colorado women's basketball, your playing time, or how excited you are for the future of our current team.
Yeah, just want to say thank you to the people on the chat in the meeting. I feel so, like I said before, just so grateful to be part of CU and to be part of CU's, legacy, and be part of that team that will forever be my family. And I watch CU when I can. I feel very confident. I think JR seems like an amazing coach. And I look forward. I know that, they're building and, they're doing well this year. And I can't believe how tall they are. They're just like so much bigger than when we were playing, seems to me anyway. But I mean, I love Colorado. And, I hope my boys go there one day and I get to go back there.
And Shelly, what would you add? Thank you, Lexi.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to all the fans and everybody on this Zoom and those who are actually going to watch the recording. Just really appreciate all the support that you guys gave us during, our playing careers, but also as we're now onto the professional real world adulting lives. I just really excited, everywhere I've been in my coaching career, we've actually played CU, whether it's been home or they've come and played at our university that I've been coaching at. And, for 40 minutes, I'm not a buff. I'm not a buff for those 40 minutes. We got them this year, at DU, which was pretty cool. But once a buff, always a buff, and always bleed black and gold in my time. During my playing career in post now in my professional life. I'm really excited about JR and the coaching staff and what they're doing there. I got firsthand, look at the Buffs this year when they played us, and just really excited for their future. I know they got a nice little point guard, Sherrod Hollingshed inside. They got a nice little shooter. And so really excited to kind of see, as they're building this program, what their future is going to be. But yeah, bleed black and gold, once a buff, always a buff, and just really appreciative and anything I can do to give back to the university and the women's basketball program. Kimberly, you just call, text me, whatever I can do, and just appreciative of you guys kind of joining us today. And Lex, great seeing you, buddy. As always, go Buffs.
Thank you.
Love you, Shell.
Thank you, Lexi. I always say I have the best job in the athletics department because I get to work with incredible letter winners and former teammates like the two of you. So thank you very much on behalf of all of us for joining us today. And I am going to toss back to Pam, who's going to share a video about our current team. And as you know, we are tipping off in 3 minutes. And I put the link in the chat of where you can find us. And please join us for our next event where we'll have some other former athletes to share their stories with you. So thank you everyone for being here, and go Buffs. Thanks, Kimberly. Thank you guys.
Great. Thank you all. Thank you, Kimberly. As she mentioned, game tipping off soon. I will be sending an email out to everyone that was here today just with a little more information about our upcoming events. As she shared, we're going to be doing 2 of these in February as well. So let me go ahead and share. We have a fun video that's some highlights from the Buffs January 1st win over Washington. So we're going to go ahead and share that. And then once the video is over, we're going to go watch the Buffs. Have a great day, y'all.
Previous got it in the corner, down to Maya on the right side, blocks, turns, baby to Aubrey Knight, locks inside to Hollingshed. Double team was there for, I didn't take the bait about the free throw practicing that they were doing. Just let her talk about it. Pina gets it in. And it's 7-6 Washington. Laxton inside, gives underneath to Tuatele. Now to Shar. Whitaker working the left side baseline. Turnaround, baby hook, but she's eligible to play now. It was eligible just before the holiday season.
Nice. Lead changes as well.
High post. Nice bounce pass to Aubrey Knight. Get the basketball in. We'll get it to Jay here on the near side. Jay driving inside. Jump pass to Aubrey. Aubrey. It was going to continue on. Jay bounces down to the block. Maya's got it. Turns. He is fouled and count the bucket. Gives back to Foreman. Foreman dribbles between the double team and finds Tuatele, who's fouled, and Finau spins in the lane, kicks up top. Maya for a three. Yes, sir.
Maya's fouled.
Sela eyes it and missed it short. Maya got the offensive board, puts it back up and in. Tries to strip it away. It goes to Peanut. Peanut ahead to Finau on the right side. Layup, up and in. Nice work. Third pick. Back to Frida. Frida pull up to the free throw line and hit the back iron. Knight, wrap around pass to Maya inside. Little head fake. Gonna go up and under and a little Knight. Aubrey finds Finau. Finau dribbling down the left side. Off to Aubrey and Holly Shed and Whitaker. Nice move by Maya. Little Maya and around the horn. Knight dribbling inside and lays it up and in. Nobody came. 8:38 to go here in the contest. Step up Whitaker. 15. Can't get that one to go. Ball tipped around. Aubrey the rebound. She's fouled and count the bucket. Dude up top. Reese will straight away. Can't get it to go. Offensive board and Sadler.
Well, that was fun. Thank you all for coming. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.